Cullum wakes up. Josslyn caught in the act. Hey everyone and welcome. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please support me and give this video a thumbs up. At the QS, Chase is in the shower and Brooklyn tells him to accelerate up as their at-home interview with the social worker is in 20 twinkles. Brooklyn sets up a tea set in the living and the social worker Sarah Miles arrives. They sit down and Chase appears apologizing for his late entrance. He just happens to know Sarah as they worked a case together last time. They all sit down and Chase and Brooklyn tell Sarah the story about Delilah and Phoebe. Brooklyn explains they feel they owe it to Delilah to watch for Phoebe until her family is located. Sarah's concern is that this foster arrangement is only temporary. So, will they be prepared to give up the baby when the time comes? The couple doesn't feel to answer the question, only that Brooklyn and Chase contend they want to take care of Phoebe only until she can go home to her family and that they made a pledge to her mama. Sarah also asks them to show her around their house. What does WY overhear in the kitchen? WY asks his per where Danny and Uncle Jason are. Michael explains that Jason went on a trip and Danny is staying with his grandma Alexa's house. Michael also helps WY with an academy assignment on creatures and the food chain. Olivia walks by and overhears them talking and she suddenly has enterprises when WY asks if they could ask Jinda to help with the design and he's chosen to concentrate on spiders which are Justinda's fave. Olivia asks WY to go put away his thrills in the mudroom. So, the boy rushes off. Olivia tells Michael that she owes him in reason. She's sorry for how the family came after him over Jinda, but not why they did it. Olivia get over that Michael formerly upon a time paid Justinda for her services and for what happened at the gatehouse. Michael snarks that this doesn't feel like in reason. Michael wouldn't apologize for his passions for Justinda or their relationship. WY returns and listens in as Olivia tells Michael that he can't change the fact that Jinda was a cocotte. What advice does Sunny give Gio? At Sunny's, Gio returns from a drill, has noted the increase in security around the house, and asks his forefather if this is about Dante and Jason's fight. Sunny skirts the issue of the increased security and suggests that if Gio is upset about Dante, also, he should check on him. Gio is sure Dante is fine, but Sunny notes his concern says a lot about him and that he cares about Dante in malignancy of what they've been through. Sunny feels Gio must be the one to make it ground as Dante has been giving him space to sort out his passions. Gio builds a bridge at the PCPD. Turner addresses to Dante about the trick WSB pulled with Jason and she's furious. Justine changes the subject to the Marco Rios murder. Dante explains that Lucas was too important of a mess to give them anything useful, so he'll check back with him laterally. As for Alexa's office, it was during office hours, so the doors were uncorked and there were no office cameras. Marco's phone is also still missing. When Dante questioned Sidwell, he naturally concentrated on his father, Sunny, as the main suspect. Laterally, Gio shows up to check on Dante, which surprises him. Dante says he's fine and invites Gio to join him for a fancy coffee in the break room, courtesy of the new machine he'd installed. Justine has further questions. Back at Sunny's, Fizz growls when someone arrives at the door. It's Justine. Justine has brought doggy treats for Fizz and he takes one and runs off. She explains she's then without the record questions for Sunny about Marco. Justine tells him that Sidwell claims Sunny killed Marco, but Sunny says he'd nothing to do with it. He says Carly would be pissed at him if he killed her family Swain. Sunny says Sidwell wants Marco's death to be his fault because he doesn't want to have to condemn himself. Rocco's guilty conscience. At Lulu's, Rocco wakes up and learns his mama called him out of academy for the day. She tells him that Nathan stopped by to check on him and again reiterates that he see anyone he was on the pier. Rocco suddenly asks where Jason is. Lulu explains that he was arrested and Rocco realizes it was for what he did. Rocco cries that he let Danny's per go to captivity for him. Rocco asks about Cullum and Lulu says he's still alive as far as she knows. Lulu tells Rocco she'll go down to the sanitarium to find out further about Cullum and can claim she's doing a story on what happened at the pier. Laterally, Charlotte returns home from academy and asks her family if he's sick and that's why he was in academy. Rocco tells her he sliced his hand in the kitchen last night and Mama let him stay home. Charlotte also gets right into what happened with Danny and Jason last night and that Jason was taken down by the WSB just like they took her per who will kill Cullum. At the sanitarium, Cullum is unconscious in the ICU. In Britt's office, Joss tells the croaker this is their stylish shot at killing him. As if he wakes up, he'll come after Britt. Britt knows that. So Joss says, get Cullum before he gets you. Britt and believe they're having this discussion. Joss knows Britt took in pledge as a croaker and killing Cullum is a big ask, so she'll do it. Britt says, you a baby WSB agent will bump off one of your advanced ups. Britt prodigies if Joss has killed before. Joss remains silent, which gives Britt her answer. Britt hates the idea of anyone differently risking their life for her, so she'll take care of Cullum. Is Cullum a goner? Britt laterally heads to check on Cullum and produces a hype from her fund. Just as she's about to fit him, Lulu walks by. Britt yells at Lulu that this is the ICU and she see just walk in. Lulu explains she's writing a story about Cullum and what happened at the pier. Britt snaps that as she can see he's not taking questions at the moment. Lulu asks if Britt will give her a statement given that she was on the pier. In the show's final moments in the halls of the sanitarium, Britt tells Lulu she'll give her a statement if she promises to stay out of the ICU. Lulu asks what she saw on the pier and who was there. In the QS kitchen, Michael tells Olivia that he has been through hell over the once many times and that Justinda has been a bright spot for him and his family. Olivia says if he's happy also, she's happy for him. Michael suggests they invite Justinda over for regale so Olivia can see her as a person. Brooklyn and Chase are in the foyer with Sarah, who asks if she can speak with other family members before she leaves. They've no expo station. That's when WY runs in and says, hey, Brooklyn, what's a cocotte? The three grown-ups are shocked. Y's delivery and the look of horror on Brooklyn and Chase's faces is hysterical. At the station, Dante and Gio hang out in the break room and drink coffee. Gio admits Sonny is the one who gave him the idea to come then, but he's glad he did. Dante is too. At his home, Justine tells Sonny he may be called down to the station, so she explosively suggests he bring his attorney. Fizz also shows up and begs for another treat, which Justine is happy to give. Sonny prodigies if she had another motive for coming over. She admits Fizz is growing on her and lets herself out. At their home, as Charlotte keeps talking about how Danny may no way see Jason again, Rocco feels shamefaced. He turns down to hide his gashes. Back at the sanitarium, Britt tells Lulu, no comment. Lulu asks if she can at least tell her if Cullum will pull through. Britt says it's hard to say. Jay sneaks into Cullum's room to take care of him, only for Cullum to wake up and see her standing there. They lock eyes. General Hospital spoilers allude that Ross Cullum may decide to tie up a Paris loose end. Pascal could be a problem. So, let's consider Cullum's tricky situation and how he might decide to handle it. Jay Suckers will recall that Pascal realized 2 of Britt Westbourne's drug vials were missing from the safe at Windmere. Jin Sidwell hadn't been hearkening to Pascal's enterprises about Lucas Jones leading Marco Rios amiss, but easily believed this was evidence. Pascal putatively allowed. Cullum would take care of Lucas when he called him about those missing drug valises. Still, Cullum went after Marco rather. So, Pascal is in for a shock. It wouldn't be long until Pascal finds out Marco failed from a fatal packing attack. So you can go he's going to suspect Cullum redressed. This isn't what Pascal wanted at all since he actually had a crush on Marco. As a result, Pascal may want vengeance on Marco's killer, just as important as Sidwell does. The difference is that Pascal will have a much better idea of who's responsible. Sidwell thinks Sonny Corinthos is to condemn, but Pascal's news could obviously leave Sidwell suspecting Cullum. Of course, Pascal may not get a chance to unmask if Cullum has anything to say about it. Cullum survived his projectile crack and will soon get back to stirring up trouble. Once Cullum is released from GH, he could take way to silence Pascal permanently. Still also Cullum may suppose he can bury the Verity. If Sidwell no way finds out about the stolen drug vials or Pascal dishing to Cullum. Cullum may suppose it's stylish if Pascal's secrets die with him. And Sidwell continues to believe Sonny is responsible for Marco's grim fate. Still, he could always shoot another WSB speed to get the job done if Cullum fears Pascal might unmask before he gets out of the sanitarium. Anyhow, Pascal knows too important and could pay the price for that. Cullum isn't the kind of Joe who likes to leave a loose end swinging. So, could Pascal come the coming dead body in Port Charles? General Hospital spoilers say some peril could be headed Pascal's way. So, stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers reveal that the show lately released a skull peep videotape that points to some trouble for Josslyn Jax. Britt Westbourne wasn't suitable to kill Ross Cullum due to Lulu Spencer's interruption. So, Josslyn is ready to take matters into her own hands. That's why Josslyn decided to sneak in Cullum's ICU room and get the job done herself. The March 27th thriller involved Cullum opening his eyes, but he'll close them again once the March 30th occasion gets underway. It looks like Cullum is drifting in and out of knowledge at this point, so Josslyn doesn't have important time. Josslyn will eventually slip a glove as she prepares to finish Cullum off, but the skull peep videotape shows Joss's plan getting derailed. It turns out Lucas Jones is about to walk in on Josslyn, so she will and have a chance to get relief of Cullum for good. Naturally, Lucas will be thrown over the sight of Josslyn in a defined sanitarium area. Josslyn's presence will make sense to Lucas, so he'll drive for answers. "Joss, what are you doing?" Lucas asks in Jay's March 30th skull peep clip. That'll put Josslyn on the spot and force her to come up with an explanation. Since Cullum preliminarily told Josslyn that he was Matthew the caretaker, Joss may mention their night at Windmere together. Josslyn also ran into Cullum at Bobby's and Brown Dog Bar, so they've been seeing each other around city. Maybe Josslyn will claim she's gotten to know Cullum as Matthew and play it like she only realized it was a taradiddle when Cullum landed in the news. Of course, Josslyn may admit that the whole situation is complicated since Jason Morgan is indicted of shooting Cullum, who's the director of the WSB's European division. Joss may express mistrustfulness over Jason pulling the detector and suggest she wanted to see if Cullum was awake to get his side of the story. Whatever the case, Josslyn will do her stylish to explain down her conduct and avoid discovering her own WSB secrets. Once Lucas insists Josslyn be there, he'll drag her away and get some comfort over Marco Rio's demise. General Hospital spoilers say Josslyn will keep a lid on her belief that Cullum's responsible for Marco's fatal outgrowth, but she'll agree with Lucas about Marco meritorious justice. General Hospital spoilers allude that Nathan West could be headed for further trouble than he bargained for. From the moment Nathan set about Rocco Falconeri was involved in the firing on Pier 55, he's been working hard to offer protection. Nathan's passions for Lulu Spencer are clearly part of why he wants to keep Rocco safe. Rocco means everything to Lulu, who'd be devastated if she had to watch him face legal consequences or get excluded by Ross Cullum. Nonetheless, secrets tend to blunder in Port Charles. So, there's no way this Rocco cover-up will last ever. Cullum is a smart man who's going to figure out the verity sooner or laterly. So, we've to consider what he'll do once that happens. In addition to whatever peril is headed Rocco's way, Nathan could face peril of his own. Once Cullum realizes Nathan hid the verity, he's going to want Detective West to pay for that. Nathan could be at threat of ending up like Marco Rios, but the pins may eventually take a further creative path to Cullum's vengeance. What if Cullum gets back at Nathan by exposing the fact that he's not Nathan at all? There have been plenitude of advising signs to suggest that Nathan isn't the real thing. The biggest hint came when Britt Westbourne suggested about Caesar Faison having a fourth sprat that incontinently led to GH observers assuming on social media and prognosticating that Nathan might actually be his binary family. Cullum may know all about that and was likely necessary in making it feel like the real Nathan had been revivified. Of course, Cullum wouldn't want any of his own dirty deeds to come out, so he'll need to be careful about anything he spills and how he spills it. Still, we could imagine Cullum anonymously transferring substantiation of Nathan's real identity to Jack Brennan since he's so suspicious about Nathan's missing times. Cullum might indeed intimately shoot Lulu evidence that Nathan is and who he claims to be. Maybe Lulu could admit some anonymous word for a news story and wind up affrighted to learn Nathan is still departed. Lulu might find out Nathan has been lying to her from day one if his memory loss is all act. General Hospital spoilers allude that Carly Spencer may be proven right when it comes to Danny Morgan and what he needs. Carly knows Danny well enough to realize that backing him into a corner isn't the stylish idea right now. Now that Alexis Davis is Danny's legal guardian, she wants to give him a stable home and cover him. As a result, Alexis intends on putting some rules in place and giving Danny some boundaries. Although Alexis seemed let Danny run wild, Carly refocused out that he's Sam McCall and Jason Morgan's son. Danny is going to need some room to breathe and perhaps chase him many thrills along the way. That's why Carly offered the advice that she felt Jason would give if he were still around. Carly claimed Alexis should loosen the arm and be a safe space for Danny to always come back to. Don't put him in a position where he feels forced to run down. Carly said in the March 26 occasion, that line felt rather pretentious, especially because we all know Alexis can be a little tense. Grandma Alexis will surely have a hard time loosening the arm like Carly suggested. Tracy Cordine conceded that Alexis had her work cut out for her, so she'll inescapably be proven right, too. Danny is hurting right now and is bound to come further of a revolutionary as he deals with Jason's imprisonment. Grounded on Carly's dialogue indication, there's a good chance Alexis will indeed put Danny in a position where he feels forced to run down. The show could be gearing up for a raw Danny story that'll leave Alexis in fear mode. We could clearly imagine Danny wanting to go with Charlotte Cassadine if she goes on the run with Valentine Cassadine again. Valentine hopes to clear his name and stick around Port Charles, but there's no guarantee that plan will work out. Still, there may be some situation where Danny is a hitcher who ultimately reveals himself if Charlotte and Valentine take off. It's tough to believe Valentine would willingly let Danny label along, but sneaky Danny might give him no choice in the matter. Also again, perhaps Danny will just run down in a sense of getting emotionally distant and getting into trouble. Danny could head down a disturbing, rebellious road that leaves Alexis feeling like a failure as his guardian. General Hospital spoilers allude that Lulu Spencer may inadvertently get in the way of Josslyn Jax and Britt Westbourne's fatal plan for Ross Cullum. Now that Josslyn is suggesting Britt should slip into the ICU and kill unconscious Cullum while she has the chance, Britt may consider going through with it. Cullum isn't going to stop causing deadly destruction of his own. Unless someone eventually ends him for good. Still, Jish Pence would have let Cullum survive the firing and the surgery just to let Britt exclude him like this. Someone is bound to get in the way of Britt's attempt to kill Cullum. So, let's consider how effects might play out. General Hospital spoilers say Lulu will still be in investigative mode on March 27. Lulu formerly played the Port Charles press card to try and get word on Cullum's condition over the phone, but she was unprofitable. That could lead to Lulu deciding she might have better luck if she went to the sanitarium and sent it around in person. Plus, Lulu might want to talk to Britt specifically since she was also on Pier 55 when the firing happened. Of course, Britt was out cold when Rocco Falconeri shot Cullum and has no idea that Rocco was indeed there. That said, Lulu may want to calf Britt to be on the safe side. Lulu may pretend this is for a news story and throw plenitude of questions at Britt, which could help her from sneaking in the ICU before Cullum awakens. It's easy to imagine Britt trying to end the discussion while Lulu keeps pushing and pushing. By the time Britt tries to reach Cullum in his ICU bed, the place may be swarming with WSB agents and bobbies trying to get his side of the story. There may be no way Britt can get to Cullum once he's recaptured knowledge and starts talking to the authorities. In other words, Lulu may blow Britt's attempt to kill Cullum by taking away her window of occasion. On the bright side, at least Rocco wouldn't have to deal with the guilt of Cullum's demise. General Hospital spoilers say Britt and Josslyn will have to find another way to deal with the trouble Cullum still poses.